Hi everyone, I'm Angela from Angela's Cooking Up Trouble on Facebook pages. That's where you'll find us. I do a lot of recipes that I put my own little magic to, and some I just like and find interesting and I post on the page. The recipe I'm doing today is basically General Tso's chicken. But we're going to call it almost homemade. If you want the original recipes, you can find them on my page. If you want to do everything from scratch, all the recipes are right there on the page. Basically, I had found these packets and I tried this recipe and I added my own little magic to it, and it really turned out really good. I didn't like the way the chicken was floured. So on these packages that you can find at your local grocery store, some of them might have it in the international aisles, but I found these were about where the gravies and stuff like that are, seasonings as far as gravies and stuff. I'm only doing the number 2 and number 4. It tells you by step how to do this. And what to add to it, but I'm skipping those. I'm doing the original process of battering the chicken through cornstarch instead of using theirs. I'm just using this as a seasoning. But basically it's inexpensive and it's a little bit quicker. And that's my little bit of magic here. I do a little bit of magic to the sauce too, with the seasoning mix, which will go on top of the General Tso's after it's fried. But anyway, also the sweet and sour, if you want sweet and sour sauce with this, to go on the rice, I'm going to be doing later egg rolls and wontons, which the sweet and sour sauce is on my page, how to make it, or you can just buy the store brand, which is basically, you can get the smaller bottles, which the smaller bottles, more expensive ones, are a little bit sweeter. If you get the bigger bottles, they're not quite as sweet, and they're a little lesser in price, but they still do the job. But it's just my way of doing it, and I'm hoping that you'll check out my page on Facebook. It's called Angela's Cooking Up Trouble. It does say chef there. I'm not a chef, I'm not a pro, but Facebook didn't give me a whole lot of options as far as what I wanted to say or what would draw people as far as what they were searching for as into their categories. So I had to put that there, but I'm no pro. I'm just at home and I love to cook and just enjoy doing what I do. I'm going to get set up here, and basically I'll show you exactly how I'm doing it. I'm going to do this basically based on 1 pound of chicken. I'm doing more than that, but the recipe is based on 1 pound of chicken. Even these packets that I'm using are based on 1 pound of chicken, even though I'm doing more than that, so I'm going to be using more ingredients. I still will base it. At the end of the process, as I show you what to do, I will have a worded post picture of exactly how to do it with the 1 pound of chicken. So it's per pound of chicken as you would do it. But that's what we'll do. I'm using a new camera and I don't have a remote, so I'll have to do a lot of walking around, so I hope you'll bear with me. And no, I don't have a super kitchen or anything like that. I'm no gourmet cook, but I do pretty good, I think. I'm proud of myself. So I hope you'll enjoy this, and I hope it works for you as well. This is a very mild recipe. It does not have a lot of heat to it. So if you want to add heat to it, you can always add your own little magic to it, to the sauce, or you can, if some want heat and some don't, you can make little sides of peppers and stuff to top it with. So that's a really good idea. It just doesn't suit our taste here in my family. And we have to eat what we cook, so that's just the way it goes. But hope you'll look me up on Facebook pages, Angela's Cooking Up Trouble, and we're going to go ahead and start this in just a moment. Thanks for being with me, and I hope you'll continue watching. Okay, we're getting started. I've already mixed the eggs with the whisk, and then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, which is going to take the whole bottle for me with what I had left, and at least in that bottle. And we're going to put that down, lock it down, and turn this on, and pour this in. Whisk that together, and then you're going to add cornstarch, and it's 1/2 cup per pound of chicken, which I'll be adding more, but I'm just going to add this 1/2 cup first. So it's 1/2 cup per pound of chicken, and this will make your batter. And I always like to do it kind of slow. But this will make your batter basically for your chicken to be fried. And I don't use the peanut oil or any special oil. I use canola or vegetable, whatever, basically. Turn this up just a little bit. Get the rest of this in here. I'm doing just over 3 pounds of chicken. I'm going to turn that off for just a second, because I definitely want to scrape down the sides, make sure I get that cornstarch all in there. Probably need a better spatula. I've got one, but just haven't dirtied it up yet. I have a 1942 home, so we don't have a dishwasher. There's just not room for it in here, and I've gotten used to it. It's no biggie. No biggie washing dishes. But I like to keep the dishes washed as I go. Mix that just a little bit more. And we have that mixed and ready to go. I've got my chicken here, which should be 1 pound, but I have 3 pounds. I'm working with 3 pounds of chicken, just a little over 3 pounds actually. So basically your recipe is 2 eggs per pound of bacon. Per pound, I'm sorry. Oh, we always think bacon. 2 eggs per pound of chicken. 2 tablespoons of sesame oil per pound of chicken, and 1/2 cup of cornstarch per pound of chicken. So you might need to double it. It makes about 4 servings, and that could come out, I see it as 2 servings, but By the time you add side dishes to it, like rice, wontons, and egg rolls, that might be plentiful. But anyway, I'm cooking for a lot more people. So just remember that. And I'll also have a print out of the recipe on the next clip. So we're done with that. We're going to add our chicken to it in just a minute. So I'm going to basically, I think I'll do it right here so you can see. I'll definitely have to wash my hands. Let's see if I can have some tongs or something. Oh, she's a big thing. And I'm going to add my chicken to it and stir it around. Yeah, I'm making a lot. Make sure it gets coated really good. Because when you go to put this in the fryer, you only want to put it in a few pieces at a time, actually, because you don't want your oil to get, cool down. And you want it to fry up really good. So this may take me a while, but basically I'm not going to, hold y'all up. I'm just going to, my oil's still heating over there. So I'm going to cook some of this, and then I'll show you basically the process towards the end of, when I'm finished up cooking, make sure everything's coated really good of what it looks like, and then we'll go from another step there. And I'll clean up my mess, of course. Okay, we'll be in the next step in just a minute, and look for the recipe on how I did the batter in the next clip. Well, I'm frying up the chicken, and as you can see, this is fried. And basically, I've got this frying in here. I do add just one piece at a time, and I don't try and overload the fryer because it can reduce the heat. And this is a small fryer. I do it at 375 degrees on this type of fryer, or if you're frying, basically 375 degrees, till I get a golden brown, which takes 4 to 5 minutes, depending on the size you cut it. I try and make my chickens, these are a little bit tiny bit bigger, but I try to make them, I don't want to overcook them, so I try and make them about an inch wide, inch and things. And you can see there's a few pieces that are a little bit bigger, but they might some might get stuck together. But basically that's all it is. But I just take tongs and I put them in one at a time, and I don't want to overfill it, and I also make sure I stir it a little bit, because you don't want it to get, you want it to brown all over. So I try and keep it stirred and turned a little bit here and there, so you can see it's definitely not. And some will stick together, and you can just kind of break them apart as you turn them, and you see a big one, and you know it's not supposed to be that big. You can kind of break it apart. But this is how the chicken turns out anyway, and it looks really good. Of course, it's just cornstarch, so it doesn't taste all that good until you get into the sauce. But I wanted to show you that part. And then we'll move on as this is cooking, because it won't be too much longer. I only have a little bit left to fry before we get to making our sauce. And we'll do that in just a minute. Well, now we're going to mix the sauce for our General Tso's chicken. And basically, it's pretty simple. You can follow the instructions on the General Tso's seasoning mix. And it's basically, you're going to go with 3/4 of a cup water, and keep in mind this is per pound of chicken. I'm doing a bit more, so just keep that in mind. But per pound of chicken is going to be 3/4 of a cup of water. And we'll put that in there. It's going to be 1/4 of a cup sugar. And we'll put that in there. Per pound of chicken. It's going to be 2 tablespoons of oil per pound of chicken. And it's also going to be 3 tablespoons of soy sauce per pound of chicken. We're going to whisk that together. I'm going to get that going. And then we'll put in our seasoning mixes, which it only takes one. For 1 pound of chicken, it takes 1, but because I'm doing 3 pounds of chicken, I'm going to use 3 packs. So basically on this, I skip 1 and 3, and as you saw in the first video, and I just followed the 2, 4, and 5. So I've got that whisked together, and I'm going to add these mixes. I'm going to do them one at a time and mix them in real good. Whisk them in real good. One per pound of chicken. Remember, I'm doing 3 now. But this is a really, really mild. You'd have to, it has tiny, tiny bit of heat, but very little. And that's basically, what we can tolerate. And that's just how we work it. But you can always add hot peppers and stuff like that, unless, if it doesn't fit you can always put it to the side if someone does want hot peppers. They can always top it with some hot peppers. We'll do this last one. Just shook that down, but I didn't. I forgot. Now, you'll pour this in your frying pan, which I have over here. But before we do that, I add like about 1/2 of a red onion. I put my own little magic with this. Excuse me. I add about 3 cloves of garlic per pound of chicken. And I'm also going to put in ginger, which I use about 1 tablespoon per pound of chicken. And then I blend all that together. Make sure all that powder and stuff and that seasoning mixes in there. I'm going to bring my frying pan over here. Yeah, it's huge because I got a lot to put in it. But I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to pour it into the frying pan, and we're going to put this on the stove and bring it to a boil. once we bring that to a boil, we're going to add our chicken to it. And I'll show you that process in just a little bit. But when we do add our chicken to it, you know, we'll bring it to a boil, we'll add our chicken to it. We're going to kind of let it cook down just a little bit to a thicker consistency. So we'll do that in just a moment. And let me get this on the stove. More chicken, but I want to be able to stir it somewhat. We'll get this stirred in, and I'll add the rest of the chicken. And then we'll cook this down just a little bit. Yeah, you need big pots and pans. You have big families, so and when you do a lot of cooking for a lot of people, you never know when you're going to use all of it, but I always like to cook extra. Oops. Yes, I'm a messy cook too. I got breadcrumbs in there, but it won't hurt anything. And then we'll stir it. And I'm going to turn this on low heat, as low as it'll go. And when it's heated up, basically I'm going to steam some broccoli. I might throw some shredded carrots on top just to kind of add a little bit of color to it and interest to it. I'm going to do egg rolls and also cream cheese wontons, but they're going to be a different video. But you can see it just turns out beautiful. And it tastes awesome. But like I said, you can add, if you want more heat to it, you can add peppers to it. This is not, those packets are really, they have a little heat, but not a whole lot of heat. So it depends, you know. Some people might just want hot sauce on it or something, but it just makes it a little bit easier to kind of have all those spices all together in one of those packets. But I just still have to add my own little bit of magic, and it turns out good. And I've got some fresh pineapple. I might even have a little bowl to the side if anybody wants it. But there you go, your General Tso's chicken. And I'll do some rice, some yellow rice. I usually do saffron rice. I add ham, more red onions to it, and green peppers. I do have some green onions that I'm going to put in here. I always do this to the end because basically, you know, after it's pretty much done and heated and warm, it still adds a little bit of color. So you'll throw those in, and I'll stir those in a bit. And then I'll have some later to top it with too. Because they'll get coated, hardly won't be seen, but they still do add flavor too. But I do like a little tiny bit of color to my dishes. Okay. There you go. Hope that was easy enough for you. Thanks so much for watching. Definitely keep it on a low heat if you put that garlic in, because you don't want to burn garlic. And it's relatively easy. The recipe is based on per pound of chicken. I did 3, so I did triple it. But I will post the the recipe for 1 pound of chicken, and you can, whatever you need to do to it. And my other recipes, I already have the recipes for rice and wontons on there on Angela's Cooking Up Trouble on Facebook pages. So please feel free to come in, and I really could use some likes on the page. I would love for you to be a part of the page so you can see some more of these videos, and also some other videos that are shared that are just really interesting and really good. But this is the basic outcome, and turned out great to me. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and definitely check out Angela's Cooking Up Trouble on Facebook pages. Alright, y'all have a great day, great evening, and I'll catch you later, hopefully on another video.